start?
So this is a retrospective of my work from the 1980s to the very, very present day. I graduated from Victoria College of Art in 1981, and I was very influenced by the teachers at that time, who were all painting a flat geometric color. It was the subject matter was very, very much about color, and so I ended up doing some of these after 1981. These paintings are, and I got the idea from origami papers. I bought some origami papers, and they all kind of sifted out, and so I got the idea of putting the squares and playing with them like origami papers. And so the squares led me to a lot of other geometric works, and a lot of drawings. I did about, over 100, 150 different line drawings with rapidograph pens. I sort of went into some optical op art. It's called op art, where the middle, for instance, the middle is looks very blurred because the lines all come together. But so the overall piece gives you a certain impression. Actually, I found it kind of musical, and that's why I called it chord sound. And the one up there looked to me more like a harp sounds. And eventually, in the 1990s, I started wanting to do something different and moved away from the geometric. And you can see in that little piece here that leaves and things were starting to creep in to my geometric paintings. And gradually, the leaves took over, and I started painting much more botanical and landscape subjects. And we have a place that's on Salt Spring Island on St. Mary Lake, and I fell in love with St. Mary Lake and did a lot of paintings of St. Mary Lake. These are all St. Mary Lake, including they're oil pastels, actually, not chalk pastels. And so these were happening in the 90s, and I also loved the breakwater. We live very close to the breakwater and the ocean, and so I did lots and lots of breakwater and ocean paintings. In between, I was still playing with some abstraction, which is not in the gallery because I could not fit everything that I've done in the gallery. I did take courses on and off too, including an architectural rendering course, which was really fascinating out at Camosun College. I don't know, maybe some of it can be seen in the Abkhaz paint little drawings there. A bit of an architectural feel. And eventually, when I retired from nursing, I went into nursing to finance my art, and I ended up working in nursing for years and years, and I actually did art therapy in a psychiatric day program, art and music therapy. But eventually, when I retired from nursing, we got an RV, my husband and I, and we headed for the desert. We headed for the south, and I'd never experienced the desert before, the southern deserts. maybe just a little bit in our Okanagan in BC, but when we got down to we got down to Nevada and went straight down the middle of the desert, at first I thought, what is this land? It's just all sand and rock, and I was quite disenchanted. But after a while, I fell in love with it and got really fascinated with its with the botany in particular in the desert, because these plants are very, very hardy, and it's unbelievable that they are able to find life and grow in the desert. But there was lots of them, and when I experienced the desert springs, that just blew me away, because in the spring the whole desert is in blossom. The whole desert, like almost every square inch of it has little blossoms, and you can see fields of yellow that go for miles and miles and miles. And so that just but the bloom only lasts for a little while, and then it's gone, and we're back to the sandy, dry desert. But I started painting. So I started painting mostly botanical subject matter and desert landscape, and I was quite happy doing that from 2004 until about 2015. We would go every winter in our RV and spend 2-3 months in the desert, and it was lovely. We had a great RV park there, and I could do lots of sketches. While my husband drove, I took thousands and thousands of photographs and did lots of sketches when we were in our RV park, and so did a lot of desert paintings from all that research. But now we're kind of settled back in Victoria, and I'm really feeling like I'm still interested in the botanical part of it, and I think that came from my mother, who collected and pressed flower and botanical specimens for most of her life, and I still have her collection. Not all of it, but some of it. So I think I know where I'm heading, and the last 2 pieces under the future there are the trees out on our street in blossom this year. I think it's a crabapple blossom on the one picture, and the other is Japanese plum blossom, which is those luscious pink trees that bloom in Victoria in the later spring, don't they? In May, I think. Yeah. So that's where I'm at now, and so I'm about to move on to more local subject matter. Continue with the botanical subject matter.
And what's been the response to the show? People mention something or say?
Yeah, a lot of people are interested, or where their art is coming from.
Yeah, that's true. Like a little history of you know, as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you start, or what was your...
That's right.
What you like at the time, what were you into?
Yeah. Yeah, actually on that video there is some pictures. One picture that I did when I was 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
And one that I did when I was 5 years old. And a couple that I did when I was 60
16?
Yeah, yeah. When I was 16, I studied with two really good artists.
How old were you then?
I was 16, 15 and 16.
Oh. And you were teaching younger kids?
Yes, yeah.
Hmm.
And I remember one of the kids, Sam Han, he was First Nations, and his work, you could tell that he was First Nations because he did these beautiful, he was doing these beautiful fish drawings, and
Oh,
he
okay.
was doing First Nations art, right, even though he didn't even know he was doing it.
Mm-hmm. But was he influenced by somebody in the family or something? No?
Maybe, yeah.
But still, at a young age, he was already.
Yeah, like, I don't know, age 9 or 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. And you never tried to find out if he became an artist or no?
No, I didn't, because we lost touch with
Yeah,
with them.
many of the
They were
kids.
good neighbors, but so we booked if we drive up island to Gold River. Do you know where Gold River is? No?